It's quite a bold claim to say BeamNG is definitively the best vehicle simulation game out there. However, that does not mean it is untrue. This video will dive into the good in BeamNG, the bad, and the elements no one ever considers when thinking about the game. All to answer the question, is BeamNG really the best simulation game? The first thing that is important to take into consideration is that from the evidence we can deduce if BeamNG is the best vehicle simulator. However, we cannot definitively say that it is the best simulation game, as that is down to your personal preference. I mean, I'm not going to judge if you prefer Therapy Simulator. Anyways, now that we have that out of the way, let's decide if BeamNG is the best vehicle simulator. A lot of people argue and have commented about the fact that the game is still in early access after over 10 years. I won't go into depth about this topic as it always seems to rage bait people. However, I personally stand by the devs on this one, as after all, early access is designed to encourage development and feedback from the community, although we'll talk about the community more later. However, there is also a flip side to the early access coin. As Skyfall mentioned in his recent video, BeamNG is a jack of all trades, yet master of none, which I can imagine contributes heavily to the game still being in early access, as we can argue if the devs put all their attention into one feature, such as career mode, it would likely be finished by now and we'd be out of early access. But I feel as though the game would not be as fun as it is today. Yeah, sure, we'd have a proper path to follow in career, but the free roam would be lackluster, likely not containing half as many cars, effects or features as it does today, since all the time and effort from the devs would be put into career mode. However, that is my opinion on this matter, so please comment below. What would you prefer the devs to have done, or even start doing? Spend the next several months working solely on an unreleased career mode to finally finish it, or spend the next few years releasing new cars and features while slowly working on career mode like they have been. Despite the fact BeamNG may not be finished, one thing we can surely agree on is that the vehicle simulation is unmatched. In what other game is the suspension meticulously calculated to ensure it is as close to real life as possible, or the devs spending tons of time to carry out real-world strenuous testing on real tyres to see how they respond, gathering thousands of data points, all so that they can implement the best tyre simulation we've ever seen in any game ever. Skyfall does also discuss this in his video, but it is necessary to mention since it plays such a massive role in the game today. But beside the near flawless execution of mechanical and soft body simulations, what can you do with them? Well, as I discussed earlier about there being way more cars and features due to the devs' diverse focuses, you can do pretty much anything. Whether you want to have a police chase with random AI, which we do know is not perfect, or if you want to practice your lap times. BeamNG has so much you can do. Similar to Minecraft, the only real limitation is your imagination. However, even when that runs out, new updates and possibilities are released. Quick little break here. We're so incredibly close to 10,000 subscribers, so if you subscribed, it would mean the world. I actually can't believe we're so close. I feel like I'm 13 again, just dreaming of these numbers. This next one is a given. BeamNG is a one-of-a-kind game. I do not know of any other game that executes physics nearly as well as BeamNG, and that goes for every simulation game I have personally heard of. However, one thing that does confuse me about it is that the updates seem to add the most random of content at times. This is by no means me hating towards the game, but where did the idea of heavy plant machinery come from? I have never really played around with them, as I have never really understood the point. However, the beauty in this video idea is that it could be seen from the angle that it's just another way for people to keep themselves entertained when playing BeamNG, as it is yet more vehicles you can mess around with. Next up, a feature I don't think people think too much about, that being modding. There is a huge modding community, making a mixture of high quality and low quality mods. On top of this, we have both free and paid mod. This is quite controversial in the community. However, at least in my opinion, if someone is spending the time to make a dev quality vehicle mod, they should deserve to get paid for it. However, that does not mean that there aren't good free mods. I mean, some of the best quality mods are the free ones. Don't get me wrong though, there are paid mods that really shouldn't be. However, that's definitely the minority. But in my professional opinion, the best free mod has to be BeamMP. It is a miracle to me that this is free, providing tons of servers and a fully basically mostly seamless multiplayer experience, which is mental seeing as it's not funded by the devs. Since BeamNG would be nowhere near as popular without BeamMP due to all the viral funny videos, and due to how revolutionary it has been, I say it has to go down as the best free BeamNG mod. Also, if you're wanting to get your own BeamMP server, click the affiliate link in my description. It basically means I get paid when you run your server, at no extra cost to you. And you also get an amazing quality hosted server. However, looking back at the vanilla game, which has countless reviews regarding the fact it has crazy requirements to run, saying it runs worse than me after a kebab. However, I feel as though BeamNG actually has some quite modest requirements, especially given the complexity of its physics. I mean, don't get me wrong, your game may not look stunning and may not be able to run more than one car. However, I still feel it's impressive that it can run at all on some of the lower end systems some people play on. However, when you're actually loaded into BeamNG for the first time, it is very confusing. However, I have mentioned this before, I do feel it is one of the downfalls, because there's so much hitting you at once, or so much hidden in the menus that you would never find unless you knew. However, on the other hand, it means it is incredibly customizable. You can turn almost any car into anything, although there are certainly some gaps where cars have little to no parts, although for most vehicles there are more than enough options. However, it has that downside of being very overwhelming and intimidating, although good for the more experienced players that know how to navigate the menus. Anyways, very quickly, before we discuss the things I feel no one ever thinks about, I need your advice. Since summer is coming up, I was hoping to start a second channel, making real life content from things such as Top Gear style videos to hopefully seeing how my city's public transport works behind the scenes, if the companies let me of course. I would basically be making content I love, as I love buses, and a video about buses would be awesome for me, but please let me know if you would actually watch it. Anyways, we all know the dev team behind BeamNG is amazing. Not only do they listen to feedback from the community, trying to implement features people ask for or tweaks people want, not always being able to facilitate it, however always listening. And that is not to mention the semi-regular updates the game also receives. As well as this, they also have a content creator program that I'm not a part of, please add me devs. However, I know from Skyfall they get given free gifts during holidays, as well as receiving early access to new updates to create content on the update in time for launch. But as well as the devs showing an interest in the community and supporting the people making content on it, there is also the very active community both on the teaser post as well as in the Discord server. I feel this actually plays a big part behind the game. Having such a large and active community is quite rare, so it's good BeamNG has managed to create one. Plus, to help with the confusion that BeamNG imposes upon its new players, chances are someone in the community will be willing to help, whether that's through the Discord or the forums. Which, by the way, I think the BeamNG forums are great for credible mods or common questions, just it can be hard searching for a mod sometimes. Anyways, that brings us to the end. So let me know what you think. Is BeamNG the best vehicle simulator out there? But thank you all for watching. I'm wishing you all the best. YouTube thinks you'll like the video now on screen. See you.